Hello, sir. Yeah.
Asma?
Good evening, sir.
Yes. Sorry.
Good evening to all.
So,
Good evening to all. I, Asma Parveen, on
just a
behalf.
minute. Let me fix. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Asma.
Okay, sir. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I, Asma
Can you hear
Parveen,
me or
on
not?
behalf of the. Yes, sir. You are audible.
No. Okay. Let me.
Am I not audible, sir? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now, can you hear me? No?
Yes, sir. You are also audible then also, sir.
Okay. Actually, there was an issue. Okay. I have fixed it. I
Okay.
wanted to do it through laptop, but I don't know what happened. As you are saying that you cannot hear me,
Yes, sir.
doing it through
So,
laptop
shall I
was more.
start, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. I am Asma Parveen on behalf of the Food Welfare Society. Welcomes you all in today's session, which is about how to draft a first appeal and complaint under the RTI Act 2005, in which sir will discuss all the things in detail. As draft already been shared in the group, I hope you all have gone through that. So I hand over to the sir so to discuss the things in detail, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Asma. Good evening to all interns. I hope you all are fine and had a great festival. Uh, so all can hear, na? Just respond me through text that whether you can hear me or not. Can you all hear me? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, thank you. So three things are there that that I'm going to discuss. Okay. So uh, first of all, I would like to say sorry because I was not able to review your RTA application because of some family emergency. Okay, because of some medical emergency. But definitely, even after the completion of the internship, I will definitely review your RTA application and I will send the correct one if any correction is required at all. Okay. So that is my promise. And after the end of the semester, you all will be accessible to me either through WhatsApp or through mail. I hope you all have my mail ID. So don't worry about that. That if something remain late to be covered in my session, so you are always free to ask. Okay. So thing is that what happens if if you don't receive any information in response to your application. Okay, so that is I am going to discuss. So the response could be of different type. Okay, uh, it it can be just silence on the part of the information officer, that is central or state public information officer. He can completely remain silent. Okay, means he will not respond or he is not responding or he has not responded within the statutory period within which he needs to supply the information or he needs to reject the information request. So if he simply remains silent, don't make any response to your RTI application, then you have to presume that your RTI application or your request for RTI application has been rejected. So that is known as deemed rejection. Okay. So when just a minute, I am going to take a call, a urgent call. After 2 minutes, I am again joining you. Okay. So please allow me to take the call.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where uh, ended is that simply you cannot may not receive any response from the information officer, central or state public information officer. So that time you need to presume that your request for information has been rejected. Okay. So rejection, you have to make a presumption regarding this only after the end of the statutory period from the date of application. That is normally, you know, that for supply of the information in ordinary cases, 30 days time has been allowed to the information officer. So from the date of application, you need to wait for 30 days in ordinary cases. Okay. Where you have asked for the information, if it relates to third party information, you need to wait for 40 days. And when you applied for information which relates to life and liberty, then you need to wait for only 48 hours, okay, from the time of filing of the application. So after the elapsation of this period or this time period, either in days or in hour, as the case may be, as I just said, so you can make a presumption that your information request has been rejected if there is no response on the part of the information officer, that is the central public information officer or the state public information officer. So that is one kind of response. Okay, that is non-response, no response. So that is also a response. That response that is deemed rejection. Now, another kind of response you may find that yes, that it may varies. The response when he has responded in writing, that may be of different type. Like he has not supplied you the information, but he has asked for making payment of extra fees for supply of the information. So suppose you have made a payment of 10 rupees and at the time of filing of the application, and the information officer said you need to make a payment of 2000 for getting the supply of the information. Okay. And how he is assessing that 2000, he will mention in that. And you will be able to get the information only after making deposition of the deposition of the that extra fees as demanded by the information officer. If you are not satisfied with that order of the information officer, that is regarding deposition of extra fees, you can make and file a complaint that you are not satisfied with the demand of the extra fees as assessed by the information officer. So in this regard, you can directly file a complaint before the before the information commission, concerned information commission, regarding this. So some of you may ask that when complaint may be filed. So one ground that when information officer make a demand regarding extra fees and you are not satisfied or which is not correct in the eye of law, then you can directly approach the information commission. So that is another response. After submission of the fees, you can get the information or you can challenge that order for revision of the fees, and thereafter, as per the order of the information commission, you can make the division of the fees and you can get the information. Now, at that point of time, you are in hand having some information supplied by the information officer. So this supply might be of different type. Either it may be incomplete, it may be false, okay, it can be misleading. So this will cause dissatisfaction to you. That is, information officer responded, but you are not satisfied with that. So in this case, you need to think what are the other steps to be taken to redress your grievances. Okay. So as one cases I have said that if extra fees is demanded, then you can directly file the complaint. Okay. Now if the information, if you are fearing that information supplied is incomplete, information supplied is misleading, and you are fearing that some information could be destroyed by the information officer, okay, or by his department. So you could file a complaint. But if the case is not like that, then you can go for first appeal before the senior officer who is located in the office, same office of the State Public Information Officer. So here I would like to make you familiar first that when you can file a complaint. Okay, when you can file a complaint, that is given under section 18. But before that, I would like to say that whenever the information officer is responding to you, information officer has to give the information if you wish to give, which may be satisfactory to you or which may not be satisfactory to you. And if the information officer reject your application and send you the response that I do have a reject your application because the information you have requested is not disclosable under the RTI. So he has reject your request for information. So in that rejection, he has to mention the reasons for rejection. And not only that, in his response, whether rejection or supply of the information, he has to mention that within the time period within which the appeal can be filed, which is ordinarily 30 days from the date of the actual receipt of the order of the information officer or from the date of deemed refusal, that is from the date of 30 days, completion of 30 days or 48 hours or 45 days, as the case may be. Okay. And he has to mention in that order of rejection or supply of the information the detail of the appellate authority before whom you can file the appellate authority, file an appeal before the appellate authority if you are aggrieved with the decision of the state or central public information officer. So in the order of refusal or rejection or in the supply of the information, you will find the mentioning of the appellate authority before whom you can file the appeal if you are aggrieved with the order of the information officer. So that is the duty of the information officer to mention in his order whether rejection or supplying the information. Okay. So that you need to know, that is provided under section 7 subsection 8. So now when you have the information about the action of the information, you need to decide after going through the response of the information officer that whether the information are misleading, whether the information are incorrect, whether the information are incomplete or what, and you are satisfied with it or not. And after realizing that, after making a concrete decision about that, you can decide whether to file a complaint or whether to go for appeal. Okay. So first of all, I would like to say that is when complaint can be filed. Okay. The major difference that is in complaint and appeal, that in appeal the supply of the order, supply of the information can be ordered by the information officer. Okay. Supply of the information can be ordered by the sorry, not by the information, by the commission, okay, in appeal only, okay, in second appeal only, or by the first appellate authority in the first appeal. But in case of complaint, the information commission cannot order the supply of the information to the applicant. Keep in your mind. But other remedies which are common for both uh, appeal proceeding and complaint proceedings. Okay, so that you will find under section 19 subsection 8. So you'll find information commission. Why I am saying so? Because if you know the power of the commission either in deciding complaint or appeal, then only you can make a proper prayer in your appeal petition or in your complaint petition, okay, or in your complaint or in your appeal. If you are not familiar with the power of the information commission, you cannot rightly draft neither the complaint nor the appeal. Okay, so that is why I am stating this thing. So in deciding appeal or complaint, information commission has the power to direct the appellate authority, first appellate authority, state information officer, or the concerned public authority to make compliance with the RTA Act. Like suppose if information officer is not appointed, so can direct the appointment of the information officer. Okay, or suppose the proactive disclosure is not made under the relevant section, I think 4. So that can be directed. Okay, so direction about the compliance with the RTA Act can be made in the appeal proceedings, okay, and in the complaint proceedings. Now, second is order can be passed to compensate the appellant or the complainant, okay, that if the complainant or the appellant suffer any detriment, okay, or loss, then information commission can direct the payment of compensation by the public authority, that is the SPIO, okay, or CPIO in this regards. So it can be passed in both the cases. And next is imposition of the penalty. Okay, so penalty can also be imposed both in appeal proceeding as well as in complaint proceedings. Okay, so penalty, you have gone through the provisions of section 20, as I said or requested in the evening, that you have to go through section 20. So section 20 says if information provided willfully denied the information, supplied misinformation, or not supplied the information without any reasonable cause, or refused to receive the RTA application, okay, then denied the information, or knowingly giving incorrect information, incomplete information, misleading information, or destroyed the information. Okay, so if this kinds of activity is committed, or if the information officer is engaged or in this kind of activities, then penalty can be imposed, and the amount of the penalty is 250 per day from the date of denial or from the date of the statutory period within which the information is to be supplied. But maximum penalty is 25,000. Okay, so 100 days delay and 1,000 day delay are same. So 100 days delay means 25,000 compensation, penalty can be imposed on the SPI or CPI. So these are the prayer which you can make in the appeal and complaint. But one thing you can only make in the appeal petition, that is supply of the information, direction to the SPIO to supply the information. This order can be passed only in appeal, but not in complaint. But in complaint petition, you can ask for an inquiry. Means when you think that information officer has not supplied all the information, and you want to go through all the volume, okay, you want to make an inspection of the official record, okay, or you want to make an inspection whether the information has been destroyed or not, or whether the information given are correct or not. information given are misleading or not. That you can judge only when you have an access to the original records. Otherwise, you cannot decide. So if you are having, if you are having any doubt that yes, the information supplied is misleading, information supplied is incomplete, or some information has been destroyed, then you should go for complaint petition. You should file a complaint, because for filing the complaint, you no need to file any first appeal or second appeal. Just of the elapsation of the 30 days period, okay, you can directly move the information commission. Okay, so in this case, you can go before the information commission and you can ask for appropriate order. Okay, uh, which the information commission can pass under section 18. Okay, so here is the list where what kind of direction can be passed or what kind of prayer can be made under section 80. So subsection A, B, C, D, E, F. So if you go through about this, like as I said, your request for information has not been accepted by the public authority. Okay, then thereafter I said that denied the supply of the information. Then about fees, extra fees, I said that information was demanded extra fees. So you want the revision of that demand of fees. Okay, then information is given incomplete, misleading, false information. Okay, then matter relating to requesting of obtaining access to the records. Okay, so when you want to get an access to the original record, so this, in this case, you can file a complaint and you can get the order of inspection. You can get the right order either through the inspection, and when you can inspect the copy under the order passed in the complaint, you can also ask for a copy of the official record during your inspection. Okay, so that you can do when you want to access, when you want to verify that the response of the information officer are correct or not. Okay, so I always say some questions I have received from you, if misleading information given, incomplete information given, okay, false information given. So at that point of time, or in that case, you should go for complaint and ask for an inquiry by the concerned information commission, and during the inspection you verify the original record and see the response of the information officer, because that will help you to decide whether the information officer has responded you truthfully or not. Okay, and thereafter accordingly you can ask the information commission to pass necessary order. So I think you are familiar now, you are familiar when complaint can be filed and when appeal can be filed. So complaint you can directly file before the commission, but in case of appeal there are two appeal. So in case of appeal, when you want all the direction passed in the complaint, plus you want a directions from for supply of information, then you have to go through appeal process. Okay, and when you don't want to get the direct supply of the information from the information officer, but you will inspect, and during the inspection you will make a request for getting a copy of the relevant information, then go for complaint. Okay, so choice is yours. Okay, so you have to decide based on your case in hand what remedy would be appropriate. So in this case, complaint move directly to the information commission, but appeal, first appeal and second appeal is there. So for first appeal you have to move before the designated first appellate authority, who is the senior officer in rank to the public information officer. So he has to simply approach to the first appellate authority for supply of the information. That first appellate authority has only one power. He can only direct the SPIO to supply the information or reject your first appeal. He has no more power than that first appellate authority. And whatever decision the first appellate authority is passed, if you are agreed, then you can approach the second appellate authority, that is the information commission under section 19. Okay, so appeal process is governed under section 19, first appeal and second appeal both, but complaint process is governed under section 18. You can directly move information commission in case of complaint, but in case of appeal, you have to first move the first appellate authority, and then if you are dissatisfied with the or aggrieved by the decision of the first appellate authority, you can move the information commission. Then only, otherwise not. Okay. So now I am coming to the drafting part. Okay. So drafting is very simple. So I would like to request you to move the first appeal draft. You check how I have drafted. This case is related to my daughter's admission in a central university established by Rabindranath Tagore. So there was I thought there was a corruption issue. I have supplied both the RTA application as well as the first appeal. And I own the first appeal, although I was not in a position to present during the first appeal because I was busy in my village. So that is why I was not able to attend the first appeal. But order has been passed in my favor. So look how the appeal has been drafted, and that order I have shared with you. I think you all have seen it. So see, first you need to write the first appellate authority before the first appellate authority. Then you need to write the name of the public authority. Here I have written Vishwabharati University. Then you need to write the address if it is available. Okay. Then you need to write first appeal number. Then you need to leave a blank, and then you need to give a slash. Then you need to mention the year in which you are filing the first appeal. So when you will file the first appeal, they will number it. Okay. They means the first appellate authority's office will number it. Then you need to give the information seeker detail. That is the RTA applicant's detail. Okay. As appellant. I think you all have viewed it or you are viewing it. Then versus the state public information officer or central public information as the case may be. So here in the appeal petition, the information seeker become the appellant and the information officer become the respondent. Okay. Then you need to mention like this, that the appellant above name most respectfully swear as follows. Okay. Now your appeal petition, first appeal petition starts. First point you need to mention, give the detail of your RTA application. Okay. When you have filed and how you have filed the RTA application. Then second point you need to, second ground you need to mention in your appeal, that is response of the information officer, whether he has given information or not. In my case, it was a deemed rejection. So I have written the respondent has not responded to the aforesaid RTA request. So you need to, when you are mentioning the RTA application, you need to make it as an annexure. That RTA application is enclosed here with this appeal as an annexure 1. Okay. When the information officer rejected or deemed rejection, then you just simply mention that it has been, information officer has not responded. If he has responded, then you write the information officer has responded on such and such date. Then give a stop and say that a copy of that response is enclosed herewith for your owner's kind perusal. So you have to attach. So RTA application will be annexure 1. If you have received response from the information officer, that will be annexure number 2. Then third point will be your cause of why you are aggrieved, why you have got aggrieved, cause of dissatisfaction because of the action of the RTA information officer. Okay, why you are dissatisfied with the action of the information officer, that you need to mention, and that should be a lawful ground. Okay, so these are the body of the RTA first appeal, and thereafter you need to make the prayer. You need to make the prayer. So here in first appeal, you need to simply make the prayer for a directions to supply the information to you, to the appellant. So only one prayer is required to be made. Or if you want to make it 2 prayer, then make the order for supply of the information is number 1 prayer, and second prayer you make a residuary prayer, that is any other order which first appellate authority may deem fit and proper for disposal of this first appeal. So I would request you to always mention this residuary prayer, that any order which the first appellate authority or the information commission or the first appellate authority, as the case may be, as they may deem fit to pass, that kind of order can be passed. So that you will get in the second appeal, which I included. Okay, so I'll show you the second appeal petition. Okay, now after the prayer, you need to make a verification. Verification means about the truthfulness of the body, whatever you stated about. So you have to make the verification like this: that I do hereby, you need to mention the name, I such and such persons do hereby state that all the statement made herein above are true to the best of my knowledge and belief. Then you need to write your name, right side, and left side you need to give the date, and you need to sign. Okay, no file, no application fee or no fee is required to be paid for filing appeal. Okay, so this is all about first appeal. Now, second appeal, I am in case of second appeal, look what I have supplied, okay, to you. That is, it was an appeal. Just a minute. In case of second appeal, I think second appeal, I have wrongly given you the second appeal. Second appeal, name the authority. At the above, you need to write before the information commission. Suppose before the Central Information Commission or before the State Information Commission at the center. Okay. Then you need to write where it is like located, address. So, all right. Then you need to write second appeal number, dash, hyphen, then slash, then the year in which you are filing. Then below you need to write like the first appeal, that is the detail of the appellant. Okay, so you need to write the appellant's name, that is information seeker's name, his address, then versus the information officer. Then below same process, that is the appellant above name, most respectfully swear. Then point 1, first you need to write about the cause of action, that is when you have filed the RTA application. First, that will be the first point in your second appeal. Second point will be, that is what was the action of the state public information officer or the central public information officer, as the case may be, on your RTA request or on your RTA application. Third will be that you have preferred an appeal before the first appellate authority. Okay, all the annexure you need to include. In first point, you need to make the RTA application as an annexure 1. In second, you need to include the response of the information officer as an annexure 2. Then third, you need to mention that being dissatisfied with the response of the information officer, you have preferred an first appeal. Okay, before the first appellate authority of the respondent. And a copy of the first appeal is annexed as annexure 3 or is included as annexure 3. So here annexure 3 will be the copy of the first appeal. Now 4th point will be what was the response of the or what was the decision of the first appellate authority, and that is need to be made or include as annexure number 4. Okay, so you see the sequence. And next point 5, that is why you are dissatisfied with the order of the information, with the order of the first appellate authority. If you are satisfied with the order of the first appellate authority, then there is no need to prefer second appeal, isn't it? So you prefer second appeal only when that is the there is a dissatisfaction on your part in respect of the order passed by the first appellate authority. Okay, so why you are dissatisfied, you need to mention. That is the lawful ground. Means actually this will expose the irregularities or what should I say? That is non-discharge of the duty by the first appellate authority. Okay, what the first appellate authority should have done, he has not done it. So that is why I am preferring the second appeal. I am agreed with the order of the first appellate authority, so I am preferring this second appeal before your honor. So after this, you need to make the prayer. So prayer you need to draft like this. So therefore, this appellant most respectfully, so therefore it is very humbly prayed before your honor that your honor may very graciously be pleased to pass the following orders. So first order, you will make the prayer for first order, that will be the directions for supply of the information. Okay. Second is, you need to ask for the order, that is for a disciplinary action against the state information officer. If he has not discharged his duties as per the provisions of the RTA Act, then disciplinary action is supposed to be initiated against the information officer. Okay, so your second prayer should be a disciplinary proceedings, order for disciplinary proceeding against the state public information officer. Third prayer should be that imposition of the penalty. If it is the case, if you are seeing that section 20 ground are getting fulfilled, then you need to make a prayer that an order for the imposition of the penalty on the information officer. Okay. Now third, if you have suffered any loss, or detriment, then you can make a prayer for the award of the compensation. So you can say to pass an order for the payment of compensation. You can mention the amount of compensation if you can measure the loss or detriment in monetary terms. So you can measure, or you can leave it to the decision of the information commission that to pass an order for the compensation as your honor may deem fit and proper. Okay. So when you do not want to mention the amount of the compensation and want to leave it to the consideration of the information commission, so that you can make the prayer. Now last prayer you should make, that is a residuary prayer, which I said that any such other order which your honor may deem fit proper may pass it. Okay, so that is the residuary prayer. So if you miss any kind of prayer in your drafting, that or specific prayer you are not able to make or forget to make in your prayer of in the second appeal, then this residuary clause will come to rescue you. Okay, suppose you forget to mention about the imposition of the penalty. There is a good ground for imposition of the penalty, but you have failed to specifically mention for an order to impose penalty on the information officer. Okay, so here this residuary clause will come to save you. Based on that clause, you can say that, sir, you should pass an order for the imposition of the penalty, because I have made the prayer under which you can pass an order for payment of penalty by the information officer, in respect of which, although I failed to make a specific prayer in my appeal. Okay, so these are the prayers which is ordinarily included in appeal petition. Okay, so first appeal and second appeal, fine. Now, if after the order of the information officer, information commission, if you are dissatisfied, then you have to move to High Court, and then again if you move dissatisfied with the order of the High Court, then you have to move to Supreme Court. Again, if you are dissatisfied with the order of the Supreme Court, you can go for SLP, special leave petition. Okay, so this is goes like this in appeal matters. Now coming to the complaint. Okay, so in case of complaint, so you need to, in case of complaint, you need to, your information office will remain same, commission as the case may be before the such and such commission. Then you need to, in case of appeal number, you need to mention complaint number, you need to give a space, then slash, then the year in which you are filing the complaint. Now there you need to mention the name of the complainant, that is the RTA applicant. So in case of appellant, in complaint petition you need to mention the name of the RTA application as complainant, then versus state information officer or central public information officer, he will be respondent. Okay, or opposite party you can mention. Now there you have to mention like the same, that is the complainant above name most respectfully swear. Then first point, same as in the first appeal, that is the date about your filing of the RTA application. Then second, sorry, in the first point, you need to make your RTA application as an Annexure 1. You need to include. In the second point, you need to mention that is the response of the RTI officer. That is known as information officer. Okay, public information officer. Then you need to annex. You need to include information officer response if you have any as an Annexure 2. And third, you need to mention why you are dissatisfied and why your dissatisfaction is a ground for filing the complaint. That you need to mention. Okay. So your reasons for dissatisfaction should be ground for filing the complaint as narrated under section 18, as I just uttered before discussing the drafting part. Okay. Now third, you need to in the third point, sorry, here you will conclude your main body of the complaint. So first point is about filing of RTA application, include it as an Annexure 1. Second is response of the information officer. If you have response, include it as an Annexure 2. Then third, you mention why you are dissatisfied with the action of the information officer and why it is a ground of complaint, filing of complaint. Now, next, you need to include prayer. Okay, so first prayer will be for a directions to make an inquiry into the action of the investigation officer. Okay, or into your complaint. Okay, so that will be the first prayer in your complaint. Second prayer, you can ask for a disciplinary action. Third prayer, you can ask for imposition of penalty. Fourth prayer, you can ask for what? That is award of compensation. And next prayer, you should include a residuary prayer, that to pass any other order as your honor may deem fit and proper for the disposal of this instant complaint and for the ends of justice. And thereafter verification will be there. Verification should be there both in complaint and both in appeal, whether it is a first appeal or whether it is a second appeal. Okay, so verification first part must be there. And now you can file. Now filing process, you can file the complaint or appeal. If there is an online portal, then by using that portal you can file the first appeal as well as second appeal by choosing the first appellate authority or the relevant information commission, as the case may be. Like in case of central government, that is the website I said, rti.gov.in. You can file first appeal, second appeal and complaint using that portal. Okay. Otherwise, you can manually submit the complaint either by going to the first appeal or second appeal by going to the office of the first appellate authority or the second appellate authority or the information commission, as the case may be, or you can send it or file it through sending that is the through post or through courier service. Okay, or even you can file this by email if that facility is available. Okay, last thing I would like to say that sometimes some state government or appropriate authority, competent authorities, RTI rules make some provisions to include some information either in the complaint or in the appeal petition. Okay, like in case of Uttar Pradesh RTI rule says that in the complaint it should be mentioned that you have not filed any further complaint, any other complaint in the same matter. So if it relates to filing of a complaint before the Uttar Pradesh Commission, then you need to include it in your complaint petition. Okay, in your complaint. So that will be point number 4 of your complaint. Okay, that you have not, that the instant complainant has not filed any other complaint before this commission. Okay, so you need, before or at the time of drafting of the complaint, you should go through the RTI rules. Okay. So if there is any special requirement to be included in the appeal, first appeal or second appeal, or in the complaint, then you should include it. Okay. But if you forget to include it, that cannot be a ground of rejection of neither of your complaint or appeal. After receipt of the appeal or complaint, to an amendment. Okay, that you can do. All right. Or if you fail and it has come to your notice, then you can make an application for amendment of your complaint or appeal. Okay, appeal petition. And obviously your amendment petition will be allowed. Okay. Now rest of the thing is that within which period of time you need to file the complaint and appeal. So I think in case of first appeal, I said that within 30 days from the date of that is the rejection. And in case of second appeal, okay, second appeal within 90 days from the date of order in the first appeal. Okay. So 30 days for first appeal, second appeal, 90 days from the date of first appeal, and for complaint, 30 days from the order of rejection or deemed refusal. Okay. Or order of the state public information officer or the central public information officer, as the case may be. Okay. And the time period allowed for disposal of the complaint and appeal, that is ordinarily 30 days, but maximum 45 days. That is a directory provisions. That is not a mandatory provision. So when the commission or the appellate authority not in a position to dispose of the complaint or first appeal or second appeal within that statutory period of time, they can mention the ground because of which they were not able to dispose of that particular petition, that is complaint or appeal, and they can proceed further to decide on it. Okay. So there is no bar on it, that if the concerned authority fail to dispose of the complaint or appeal within that statutory period, then they will be debarred from hearing or deciding. It is not like that. Okay. And that is why you will find that an RTI appeal goes for 3, 4, 5 years. Okay. So this is up to that. So up to the that is what should I say, that time period to be taken for decision. And if there is a inordinate delay, you can file a writ petition. If there is inordinate, suppose your application is not being heard, your appeal is not being heard for 2 years or 3 years, or your complaint has not been heard for 3 years or 2 years, then you need to file an application to the High Court for the necessary, for the issuance of necessary writs to compel the Information Commission to act on your appeal or complaint. Okay. So now from my part, this is all. So if you have any query, questions, you can ask, or you're free to ask.
Thank you so much, sir, for the information. Interns, the floor is open for queries. You can ask any question. I think, sir, we have one question left from in the group. So
Yes,
shall I
yes,
dictate
please.
that?
Before,
Yeah, sir, Garima was asked this question. Can we get the annexures attached with our petition back via RTI if we have withdrawn the petition?
see, I fail to understand this question. I think one question I have responded to Guruma, as I have answered. So what connection means he has filed an application. He
So,
has filed an
good evening, sir.
application or what? Yes.
For petition, am I audible?
Yes, you explain clearly. Okay, then
Yes, sir,
only
I'll explain.
I will be
So,
able to respond. Yes.
sir, if we file a petition
Yes.
and the petition,
If I face any difficulty, I will tell you.
yes, sir. If we file a petition and the petition is accompanied with certain documents.
Hello.
Hello? Yes, sir, in court.
Petition where you have filed? In court? In court.
Sir, I'll type the question if there is an issue with.
Here petition means no. I am telling you whatever I have got, that you have filed a petition and that
Yes,
petition
sir.
having some annexure. That
Sir,
is your saying.
suppose we filed a petition and the petition has got certain annexures, and we've further then later on we withdraw the petition.
Yes,
Then is there any procedure, any way by which we could get the annexures back
yes.
after the withdrawal of the petition?
Look, when you withdraw the
Yes, sir.
petition, yes, I'm saying. Now, it is no way related with the RTI. It is no way
Yes,
related
sir,
with
that's
the
what I
RTI.
wanted to
Okay.
know.
So I'm
Yes,
telling you
sir.
the court procedures. So when you file, yes. See, actually that is governed either under CPC or CRPC, because you know withdrawal thing is there, withdrawal of petition,
in-
complaint, etc. And in CPC that is also there. And
Actually, sir, in CPC, as far as I know, we can get the petition back, but I don't know about the annexures. If we can get the annexures back, if suppose we are attaching original documents in with regard to the petition along with the petition, so is there any way to get the original documents back after withdrawal of the petition? I don't know. I don't think so. There's any way in the
yes,
CPC.
I am telling you.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you. See, apart from CPC, you will find, that is why I always say, the law should be taught by the practitioner. Okay. So apart from CPC, with only CPC, you cannot come to know all the process in the civil court. You have to read also High Court's civil rules and order. Every High Court his own civil rules and order, which governs the day-to-day procedures of the lower court. Okay, lower civil court. So when you are withdrawing a petition, I'll deal original later on. Okay, when you filed a petition and with some annexure, so that annexure is the part of that petition. Okay, that annexure is the part of that petition. So when you withdraw, then your petition along with the annexure will be returned to you. Getting my point?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because annexure is the part. Annexures are the part of your petition, na? So if you're withdrawing the petition and they are keeping the annexure, that cannot happen. Okay. So one thing is that, and if they are not giving, I am saying, if they are not giving, file an RTI application. If it is with the office, if it has not returned to you, file an application under the RTI or under the civil rules and order for getting a copy of that petition along with the annexure. So they will supply. You need to make payment through court fees.
Sir, what do if we file an application through RTI, what do we write in that?
Look, I would suggest that if you are withdrawing, then you need to file an ordinary application in demi paper. That I have filed such and such.
The petition is already been withdrawn, and the petition is already been withdrawn, but the annexures have not been returned. In that case,
no. So see, if annexure is not returned, so that is incomplete thing, na? That is incomplete.
yes, sir.
So you got the original petition, but not its part. That is the annexure.
Yes, sir.
Basis of your petition, na? So that
Yes,
is
sir.
supported. That supports your petition. So you make another prayer before the court. No, don't go for RTI thing, because if go for RTI, court will get offended. Why you are filing RTI when you can approach the court, and court will ordinarily or simply ask the Preskar Babu to return the annexure. Okay. So in this case, I will request you, or I will advise you to make a prayer before the presiding officer of that court, before which you have filed the petition and got return of the petition. That is after your withdrawal petition accepted. Okay. So you make a petition again. That's why I have made a withdrawal petition of my petition, and that has been accepted by your court, and the petition has been returned, but the court officer has forgot to return the annexure. Okay. So if you say na first, your court will say, so when you have got return of the petition, have you not checked whether the annexure is included or not? Because when petition is returning, so it is presumed that you have got return of all the annexure. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Getting my point or not? When
Yes, sir.
petition is
Yes, sir.
returned, so it presumes that its parts, that is the annexure, are also returned. So court official may say that you have received, because when you are getting back your withdrawn petition, you have to sign. And when you are signing that you have received the petition, so it means you have received in its entirety, petition along with the annexure. So lawyer has to be wise. Lawyer has to be careful. So what they want to get back from the court, they need to check whether the necessary things are there or not in their return or not. If it is not so, immediately you need to bring to the notice of the court without accepting it. Okay. So if in any way you miss it, you can give a petition that, yes, sir, I have overlooked. So I am making a humble prayer before your court. So please make an investigation, ask your subordinate officers to trace it and then give it to me. Now, if these are the Xerox copies, then there is no issue. I am coming to your second question. If these are Xerox copies, then there is no issue. But if these are original, keep in your mind, if these are original, then don't worry, because when the original is returned, always the preskar, that is the court staff, asks you to write that you have received all the original, because it is on their part to prove that they have returned the original. So they will ask you to write that, please, advocate sahab or advocate sahiba, please, or advocate ma'am, please give a note that you have received the originals. Okay. So, and in that respect, there should be a order of the court or reflection of the action of the court in the order sheet that yes, original has been returned. Okay. So don't get worried about this. If any now as you are going to join the practice after completion of your course, so be very careful when you are submitting the original document as an annexure or as a part of evidence. So please make sure that the order sheet that in respect of your case that you have submitted the originals. Okay, and what kind of original document you are submitting, there should be a reflection in the order sheet. Okay, remember it. And when you are getting back the original, in that respect there should be a mention that you have received this original document or got back this original document.
So while
don't make any negligence in this regard, because if you make any negligence in this regard, nobody will believe you. Okay, that you have signed and you are saying that no, you have forget to check and you have signed that you have received all the original.
So while submitting the original documents, where do we mention it?
Yes, while submitting the
original documents, where do we have to mention this?
See, the original document is submitting through a petition. You have to file a petition before the court. Okay, either original document. See, usually the original document is not filed. Usually the photocopies are filed. Okay. Now, when the court asks for the submission of the original document, then only you can submit, or then only you should submit, and that is submit through a petition. In the petition, you need to mention before the court of before such and such court, then case number, suppose title suit or writ petition, whatever it may be. Okay. Then the person who is submitting the petition, case title, that is A versus B. Okay, petitioner responded. Then you need to make a heading, submission of original document. So the petitioner hereby or defendant or respondent hereby is submitting all these original document. Point 1, this document, A document, nature of the document. Document 2, this is the nature of the document. Document 3. Okay, all right. Now you need to submit the document and you need to immediately get it recorded on the order sheet. Okay.
Get it
You should
recorded
make
on
a
the
prayer before the court that, sir, I have submitted the original order sheet. Order sheet.
all right, sir.
Actually, the original document is submitted only in presence of the judge. Always
Okay.
submit the original document in the presence of the judge. Don't submit the original document before any court staff. Remember it. Okay. So when you submit the
Yes, sir.
original document before the presiding officer, before the judge, judge will immediately record it. And don't forget to check the order or order sheet that whether the judge has recorded the submission of the original document correctly or not. Because if there is a mistake and document goes missing, then you will be in trouble. Your client will be in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Likewise, when you want to get it back, again make a petition. What kind of document, original document you want to get in return? So again, the judge will hear that petition and judge will pass an order sheet that this document should be ordered. And when this document should be returned, Peskar Babu, that is the court staff, will ask you to give
Yes,
a
sir.
note that what kind of document you are receiving. Okay, and then you need to put the signature. And when you are receiving the document or withdrawing the document from the court, it is implied duty of you that you have to return the original document to your client. So when you are again returning to your client, you should take a note from your client that you have supplied or returned all these original documents. Because when you will be the lawyer, you need to take original document from so many clients and again you need
Yes,
to
sir.
return. So it should
Mm-hmm.
make a record of it. Okay. Don't forget this. Okay. I hope you
Yes,
are
sir. Thank you
satisfied
so much,
now.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
Also, sir, this is the procedure for filing a petition, but you were also saying that there's another way by filing an RTI. Could you please explain that as well?
For getting the annexures,
Yes, sir.
filing petition for what?
Sir, you said that there are two ways of getting the annexures back in case you've overlooked in the first time. One
Okay.
is by
Okay.
filing the
Okay.
petition, as you've just
Before the
explained.
court. Before the
Yes,
court.
sir.
Okay. Now, see, you can only get the annexure by filing a petition under RT Act when the annexure are available with the court. If the court has returned it to you, then you will not get it because the informations are not available with the court. So suppose your petitions are there. Okay. Your original.
Sir, you mean that
Yes.
if the petition has been returned to us without the annexures, then we cannot file an RTI?
You are not here. You need to understand. If
Yes,
petition
sir.
is returned to you, there will be presumption that you have received the annexure as well when you get the petition returned.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if the court officers are
Yes,
not
sir.
honest enough, okay, then there is very minimum possibility that you will get the annexure because they will take the defense that we have written the petition and petition consists of annexure.
Yes, sir.
So we have written all original petition as well as the annexure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that case, you can, that is why I say that if this is the case where you are saying, no, this is not right, I have not received the annexure really. Okay. So in that case, you can file an RTA application or you can file an RTA application if you file and if the petitions are available, petitions annexure are available in the office, then only you will get it. Otherwise, you will
Yes,
not
sir.
get it.
All
But
right, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
take my suggestion.
we address
In this
the.
case,
Yes, sir.
just a minute. In this case, don't use RTI because here you are at fault.
Yes, sir.
Here you are
Yes,
at
sir.
fault. You just make a simple confession before the presiding judge, before whom you have filed the
Court.
petition.
Yes, sir.
That, sir, there is a fault on my part. I have not checked at the time of taking return of the
Yes,
petition
sir.
that annexure was with that or not, or my Priska Sahib has taken the return of that. He has not taken, he has not checked. So I am very humbly, I am requesting you to please make an investigation or ask your subordinate staff to have have an investigation or have a query or have a search within the office to trace the
Mm-hmm.
annexure. I think that
Yes,
may
sir.
work. If you file RTI,
Mm-hmm.
simply they will say it has already been written and we don't have anything because they have a strong proof that
Yes,
you have
sir.
received the return of the petition. Got the point?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. All right,
So
sir. Thank you,
there
sir.
is a option, but if it is otherwise, then only you will get it. Otherwise, you cannot claim, na?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Got
sir.
it,
I get
Purna?
it. Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you. Any other? Welcome. Any other students? Any other intern? Asma, there is no other
Sir,
participation
yes.
from
Sir, we
anybody,
have
from
queries.
any intern.
Yes, sir. We have queries left, sir. One is from Megha Vishwanath. First query is about the section 19, which I think already have explained. Second is the ITI a fundamental right flowing from Articles 19 and 21 of the Constitution? If the government authorities have tampered or altered with any of the government documents,
Asma,
yes, sir, yes, sir.
sorry, Asma,
Hello, sir.
you are too fast.
Yes, sir.
Speak
Oh, okay,
slowly.
sir. Okay, okay, sir. Let me
Speak
speak
slowly, please.
again.
Repeat, please
Okay,
repeat.
sir. Is IDI a fundamental right flowing from Articles 19 and 21 of the Constitution? If the government authorities has tampered or altered with any of the government documents, even if the general public has used information used to
Uh,
blame or criticize the authorities,
Asma,
yes, sir.
I cannot follow you, Asma. I cannot follow you.
Sir,
I
let
cannot
me
follow you.
copy
Speak
paste in
slowly.
the chat box. Yes, sir. Is this fine, sir?
Yes, yes. You have received written. You
Yes,
have
sir.
received
Yes, sir.
written query. So send it through chat
I
box. Send it through chat box.
I am yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please do it.
Done, sir.
Yes. Is it right? 19 and 21 of the Constitution. The word altered with any of the government by, and if the general has used criticize the authorities, okay. See, under the RTI Act, as I said in the complaint, in this section 20, if you go through section 20, it is clearly mentioned that the destruction, okay, destruction, tampering is prohibited. Okay, there is a act, Public Records Act. Okay, Public Records Act. So there is a detailed procedures for how long the document is required to be preserved. Ordinarily, the document is required to be preserved for 7 years, and it is tampering. You know, it's a criminal offense. You all know. Okay, so here. If the alteration is legally permissible, then no issue. If the alteration is not permissible under the law, that is again it is offense. Okay, so that could be come under the definition of forgery as well. So here to in respect of RT Act section, if you look at section 20, so 20 section 20 says the penalty of imposition of penalty is there for tampering or destruction of the document. So if the information officer is uh, not acting accordingly, the penalty will be imposed, disciplinary action will be imposed. Information Commission can specifically direct the authorities to initiate appropriate action because it goes against the RT Act. They can order for initiation of criminal case against the person or against the public authority who has so tampered or altered the document unlawfully. Okay, so that can be done because what RTA Act has prohibited. That is the public officer is doing, which is criminal offense as well. So that you can do. That you can criticize that the public information officer or the public authority is acting against the spirit of Constitution, against the spirit of RTA Act. And they are so dear that they know that there is a law, that this law can be applied on them. Still they are doing. Why they are doing, you all know, because they get support from the political bosses. So I am not going to I'm not going into that, why they get encouraged and why nothing is happening. Okay, so simply if you want to make an academic criticism, so this from section 20 you take the clue and go to the Constitution, that say, Article 20 RTA Act violation means Article 90 violation. Our freedom of speech and expression is violated. Okay. Next, Asma.
Okay, sir. No, sir. We are done with all the queries.
Only 2 queries.
Yes, sir. Others are already taken into consideration, sir. PM Care Fund this one was done, and we don't have any queries or all queries, sir.
Okay. So let anyone, if anyone have anything to say, they can give them 5 minutes more. Then we will end the session.
Yes, sir. Okay. Interns, please ask any question or any query.
But I will definitely share you a drafted a sample copy of second appeal. Okay, which I have discussed what points should be included and how prior to be drafted. So I will definitely share in the group either today or tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So nobody has any questions, any doubt, any queries from any session, from today's session or last session? Okay. Now I would like to give you an offer. Okay, means academic offer, not monetary offer. If you are interested, so it is for all. I am developing a course on how to exercise RTA Act. That will be a mock course. Okay. So if anybody interested to work with me, so they can please express their interest in my personal WhatsApp box, message box. Okay. So that you can, if you want, want to get enriched in this field, that is in the RTA field, you can join with me. So that is one. And second one is, that is another offer. You all are always welcome to consult me in respect of RTA law, in respect of drafting any RTA application, either for you or your friend or any persons, as well as for drafting of first appeal as well as second appeal and complaint. I will give free service to all of you and your friends, your relatives. I am assuring you today. So you can ask for that. That is my last statement. Okay. So if anybody find it interesting, go ahead. Okay, and you can start it from today.
Okay,
keep my
sir. Thank you so
email
much,
ID, mobile number for future communication. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sir,
Then
we will share these offers in the group also, sir. Those who are not in the meeting, they will also.
Yes, Asma.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please. Are you saying anything?
Yeah.
Are you asking anything?
No, sir. I said that. No, sir. I said that these offers will also share in the group also.
Okay.
Okay,
Then
sir.
we can end the session.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes,
Then
sir.
you can end the session and ask that session end means that you are not allowed to ask any questions. You are free to ask any question in the group. Okay. Don't close the
Yes.
group for next 15 days. Okay.
No, sir.
I'm
Yes.
requesting Asma, don't close the group for next 15 days. Let them ask whatever query they have, whatever doubt they have. If they want any kind of help in case of drafting of application, appeal, complaint, they can put their requirement in the group. Okay. So
Oh,
give them
okay,
that
sir. Okay.
liberty. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Have a
Thank you so
good
much,
time.
sir.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you, sir.